in studio, I have Professor or Dr. Khalid, who is Economic Advisor, Office of the Vice President. The Vice President has been in the thick of affairs, chairing the Armed Forces Council and all of that. Just a quick thoughts from you. We'll take a break, then we'll come back and deal with other rounds of the matter. How have you been? How is the office? No bad news. The office should be very concerned.
Well, it's what I describe as a national tragedy, and that's what we've had since waking up to the early mornings of Wednesday. I mean, these are personalities, maybe bad pilots or military crew, that these are all political figures. If you're in the thick of things within the NDC space or within the government, that you would know and would have worked probably with on a daily basis. It hits so hard home, as you'd see, because of the sort of personal relationship you may have with some of them. Dr. Buama was probably the last hand I shook at Kempinski after the health summit before going home on Tuesday night, only to wake up in the morning to hear this. I had a WhatsApp chat message with the Honorable Murtala on Monday. Right, we were hoping to meet because we're neighbors and we go a long way. The Honorable Lemuna, as many would know, recently got appointed and is still in acting capacity as Deputy National Security Coordinator. And we all met at a ministerial retreat, and I think that's when most people were extending congratulatory messages to him. And Dr. Sapon, as we know, within the Ashanti region, is quite a big wig as far as the party is concerned. And the young politician that moves around with him and Honorable Lemuna, who has contested, I think, one of the seats in the Ashanti region. Obuasi a number of times. Yeah. So,
Obuasi East.
Yeah. I don't know these. Yes, I do know a few of the pilots, some of that, but I don't know these particular crew, as it may be. But it's hard to you act strong at one point, and in your own quiet time, it hits so hard, and how you handle it, it's just because these are people, you know, fantastic people, and for us to just lose, or it's not death, they perished, and it's a huge loss, not just to the families but to the nation. You know, if you look at the experiences of Honorable Buama having been deputy minister, moving through to be communications minister, now defense, which is very sensitive. So it tells you that he's baked himself through the political and public administration mill, right? And was about giving his utmost best at his optimal peak to the nation. And we have this tragedy. You look at the Honorable Murtala from YEA, from his Nooks days, you know, very jovial and activist, down to earth, you know, the people's man, has been to Parliament, lost a seat, returned to be part of a cabinet. Tells you what he's gone through and what he had to offer the nation. So you look at the Honorable Lemuna as well. He's fantastic. I mean, public administrator, who was a chief director, if I'm not mistaken, moved on to become a minister for Agric. At a point was Northern Regional Minister. And then in a sensitive role as a Deputy National Security Coordinator. Then Mr. Sapon, as you know, was also serving as a vice chair of the party. But I mean, this is not to neglect, much as I don't know the crew personally, but gleaning from the media and talking to their colleagues within the armed forces, as we commiserate with them. And being a squadron leader is quite an achievement. And if you look at it within the army, that's the rank of a major, right? And that's quite high up within the officer's rank. Right, then you have a flying officer and a sergeant who I believe has been doing this for some time now. But, you know, in having this commentary, I've been refraining to go into the details of most of this based on where I sit and what I see, because I think that is a very sensitive issue. In certain jurisdictions, this is very high profile, because flying the Minister of Defense, it's top-notch security. Right, so I've refrained so much from actually weighing into the commentary. But in military parlance, that's what we call bush radio. And by bush radio, we were referring to the rumor mill. And if you have a defense minister who is exited in this tragic manner, and we have the bush radio so actively ripe it's quite unfortunate, which is why I may probably want to weigh into some of these issues. And you spoke to Doc, who belongs to a safety agency,
Rural Public
agency. I was quite wary and concerned about his, he loosely using the word Marine One among other issues, because, I mean, if you look at Air Force One, Marine One, these are designated aeroplanes to the president.
Yeah, but the point he's making is this is the aircraft that carries the president if he's traveling. That's his understanding. And
no,
he's
but
relying on
he
media,
wasn't. Yeah, he
media
was.
commentary.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that we need to refrain from, if we cannot actively say that or authoritatively say this is what it is. When we make such comparison, we fuel the rumor mongering, especially
but
for
do we have such dedicated aircraft to the president like we have the presidential jets?
Yeah, I'm not in a position. I'm not in a position to, state that, because that is the functionality of the Air Force Command to come out and say this is what it is.
But can you confirm whether the president has used this particular aircraft?
The president has used several aircrafts. I've used,
and this is one of them.
I'm unable to say if this is one of them, because I mean, all I do is I see an aircraft leave, right? And per my security protocols, I'm not privy to most of this. If I did at first-hand basis, I'll be able to, speak to it. It hits home harder also because in the line of our duties, we all occasionally get into choppers. I can't even say, we flew on a chopper last week. I can't say if this was a particular one, right? Again, what doesn't help the public is, helis are not very luxurious air fleet. So you looking at it from a physical outlook, you cannot say if this is robust or this is good enough or airworthy enough until you are probably an expert to look at the documentation. Look at it, they look very ragged because of how they are built and what they are built for. Right, so, and they look alike. Because, again, I was worried, even coming in studio, I was listening to your sister station, Joy FM, when I heard a former transport minister with the host. They were unsure as to which craft it was, because he said, look, this craft was brought in 2015. The host says, no, they were given to us by China 2 years ago. Again, Bush radio, in colloquial military parlance. The military understands. So if we have such high-profile issues and the discussion is this murky, it's not really very helpful. Now, my expectation, my objective, professional expectation, is that I expected the media, in collaboration with the Ghana Armed Forces, you may be able to tell us how you have collaborated or maybe whether you had some resistance, to have a sort of decent stopgap in communication. And by having a decent stopgap...
We're not in good terms before this incident happened.
With the Ghana Armed Forces.
Yes, and the president promised to broker a meeting between us when our journalist colleague from multimedia was...
That's your particular media or just the entire media?
Was meeting, and the GJA had made some, had given us some matching orders. And so the president said he was going to arrange some material call. I mean, I do,
but I think that...
So that hadn't happened, so we're not...
But I think that this national tragedy should bring a certain level of
and sweep everything else under the carpet.
And you sweep something aside and activate your professional antennas to see how we could all get into this. So my objective, as I said, you have a decent stopgap from all this rumor mongering happening. For example, my expectation was that when this happened, on your screens, what we see first are the names, age, rank, right? Year of commission, year of promotions or the several promotions that most of these flying officers probably might have had, years or hours of experience.
But now, I think you are giving the media too much work.
No, it's not too much work.
Given how the military we know operates in Ghana. The military is very secretive for whatever reason.
We're all talking safety, we're talking national security.
What I'm saying is that the military issued a statement with the names, etc., of the officers. Nothing stopped them from adding those details you're talking about.
No, but
the media will then pick from there.
Yeah, but you also have your sources. You know how you get your information.
Yeah, but we don't want Bush radio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have the engagements. You get me? So if this had happened, we'll know. Because now people are comparing to other jurisdictions. Right? In the UK, US, for example, if you could fly a defense secretary, that's an equivalent of a defense minister. You have to probably have 1,200 to about 2,000 flying time experience or flying hours experience, right? Do they have this? These are questions that probably I never wanted to wade into, but we are beginning to get there because of the rumor mongering that is coming in, and which sometimes tend to be a bit insensitive. if you get where I'm coming from. So you look at all of these things, right? And the rank of the pilots, the Bangoda issue, the squadron leader, you know, just below a wing commander, I think, right? And as I said, compared to that, and they're very experienced pilots within the Air Force, right? So this is not to say that someone did wrong or right, but people have passed away, families have lost. It's a national tragedy. So when we put this out there and people have a full appreciation of it, then it stops the speculation and allows for a certain decent level of engagement to happen, right? That may aid, soothe the process in terms of what we term as a national tragedy, other than everyone throwing in, people even saying the president was supposed to travel in. This is high-level security information that nobody should really even put out there or speculate in the first place. So when we begin to have this, we even lose track of what we ought to do in terms of our air safety measures to prevent some of these things from happening in the future. Right? For it's
very well. I see where you're coming from, but it was widely announced.
Yeah.
Of course, those who were at the event were expecting persons in the caliber of the president to come.
I'm not saying the announcement was wrong.
I will take a short break.
Yeah, I'm not saying the announcement was wrong.
Darabosu here was at that event. He's spoken just a few times. He will speak more on the matter, and we'll delve into what this should mean for us in our fight against Galamsey, etc. Of course.